Hello, it's Rachel. Today I'm making a mixed media art journal page. I'm working in my Strathmore journal for this one. This is a 9x12 size journal with mixed media paper. I've gessoed my page before beginning and I'm using PaperArtsy paints in ice blue and Smurf to create a sky background. Next, I'm taking a stamp by Darkroom Door. This is a mesh background stamp and I'm going to stamp this randomly all over the page using Archival Ink in Cobalt Blue. Now I'm adding some additional stamping to my page. I've chosen two different castle stamps by Lavinia and I'm stamping these using Archival Ink in Jet Black. Normally I would prefer to use VersaFine ink for these solid silhouette style images, however that does not dry on a non-porous surface like over acrylic paint in this instance. So before I started stamping these I knew that the images were not going to be very crisp or clear and I expected that I would have to go over them with a black pen later in the project. Next, I want to create the effect that the castles are sitting in clouds in the sky. So I create some masks to begin with, and then I'm using a piece of Ranger cut and dry foam and various different paints, mostly from PaperArtsy, to create the cloud effects both around the castles and then later around the rest of the page too. Now I'm going to use a Micron pen and start to refine my images and make them as black as I would like them to be on the page. And here you can see the full effect of using that Micron pen over the top of the images. Next I'm going back to the acrylic paints and I'm making it appear as though the castles are sat in the clouds rather than just on top of them. So I'm starting off with the chalk colour by PaperArtsy, then I'm going to introduce some additional colours into the page, which are a magenta colour from Golden and also a yellowy orange colour from PaperArtsy, and the addition of those two colours really warm the page up. I've switched here from a piece of Ranger cut and dry foam to apply my paint to a damp baby wipe, and the reason I've done this is because I only want to add very small amounts of the yellowy orange colour and the magenta colour. Both can be very strong and overpowering colours if you add too much, and I just wanted a very subtle hint of both of those colours, and that's why I've switched to an alternative means of application. For the text on my page, I've used my Brother labelling machine. This is 12mm tape, and I've added a coat of golden matte medium onto each of these pieces of paper to prep the surface in order to take paint. The paint I'm using here is being applied with a baby wipe, and it is the same yellowy orange colour that I used in places on the background. Once the paint on my text has dried, I choose to darken the edges, and for this I'm using a piece of Ranger cut and dry foam and archival ink in magenta hue. My idea now is to create a small magical garden outside each of the castles in the sky, and for this I've chosen a variety of inks, not necessarily expected colours for foliage and plants. I'm mostly sticking to purples and pinks and blues for the creation of this. You can see that I use a variety of different stamps throughout, starting here with a grass stamp by Lindsay Mason and then going on to some stamps by Cardio. To add a border to my page, I'm using a foliage stamp by Cardio. This is a set called Branching Out, and I've chosen to use two different colours of archival ink. First I'm going around the border of the page using cobalt blue, and then once this is complete I go over the page again using archival ink in Cactus Flower. As a final step on today's project, I'm choosing to edge my page all the way around using a piece of Ranger cut and dry foam and archival ink in cobalt blue. That is everything for today's project. If you enjoyed watching, I would encourage you to click the like button and leave me a comment. As always, there is a link in the video description for the full product details as well as my social media sites.